Everybody, just wanted to give you a quick little demo preview of my S-Convert program, which the whole concept started just being able to convert, your WAV files to your old Akai samplers, your S900, 950, 1000, 1100, 3000, 3200, and the XL. So obviously, I know there's some other products out there that already have been doing that for years. That being said, this is something, just a little pet project I want to do for fun, but also I ended up wanting to do a lot more. So let's show you some of the stuff and kind of give you a quick overview. So one of the things is I really want to be able to control all of the parameters, not just being able to convert. So I've mapped literally all of, like, every parameter that you can basically do for your program, your key group, and your sample edit we have here. So you can adjust all your parameters and then convert that and make this screen a little bigger. There we go. So you can, again, you can change all these values here. I'm just going to use my little random value button here just to change it. That's just for on the developer tools. You don't normally need that, but you got your different parameters you can change. Again, you can and then convert it, etc. Show you a few other bits. So we have our samples. You can add more samples. Whatever, we'll just grab some of those. Okay, great. So it will sort it into disk groups based off of if you're doing a GoTech or SCSI, also based off of which sampler you're using in terms of sizes, so on and so forth. So right now, this is set up for a GoTech. So if I wanted to change that, I'd go to the drop down. I could choose SCSI, GoTech, change a couple, some of the basic parameters there. I'll keep it 950 for right now. Am I still in GoTech? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, some other things we can go into. If I double click, we can go into our sample edit. We could set up your loop point. I gotta make this where you grab it a little bit wider. It's hard to grab this bar, so I gotta fix that little glitch, make it a little bit smoother. But you can set up your loop. Right now I'm just on my laptop. I'm not plugged into my studio, so I have a virtual keyboard. You get your QWERTY kind of like Apple Logic, where you can instantly get it right. So you can click on your right here. Also notice I have a vintage audio engine. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to replace the Akai hardware here. Okay, it's just to try to give you a feel of what you're doing when you adjust your parameters. So right, and that will change based off, like the S1000 versus the 950 versus the 3000. The engine treats it slightly differently. Okay, so again, you can get your loop going. So if I hold it down, you can hear the loop is going, and I let go, fades away. So got the loop points working, got your parameters here. Obviously you can pick your root note, you can change your key range, all pretty cool. So that's obviously all inside of your sample edit. You have your key group. So let me choose a key group. Here we go. So here's my key group. Same thing. We have all our various parameters. Notice if you see the orange, that's because these I have mapped to some of my one of my MIDI controllers, but I'm not plugged in at the moment. So right now I'm just using my mouse. But I do have a little MIDI learn, so you can map all these little knobs and stuff to your MIDI controller, so you can adjust it. And again, kind of the idea here is, let's see, what key am I in? This is C2, so C2. Let me move my virtual keyboard adjustment. Let's see. Just trying to find what note on my. There we go. Okay. All right. So Y on my keyboard right now is C2. So C2, and again you can play with, the the various different settings. Some other things. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show one really cool thing. Let me go back to my sample edit. Time stretch. So again, this is not going to be nearly as cool as the real Akai hardware. Okay, so I'm not trying to pretend it is. It's just trying to get you the feel. So if you weren't at your studio and you just wanted to mess around and you're working on a groove, you kind of want to get an idea. So this kind of gives you some of that idea. So I'm just going to put it to 200%. Come down here. So the original. Stop that. Overstretched. Okay, so you can also use your virtual keyboard or your MIDI keyboard. All right, that one's crazy slow. You can also adjust the quality. Okay, move that down a little bit. Maybe try the S950. I can also trigger it with my, you can't see my fingers, but just triggering it with my keys, with my virtual keyboard on my keyboard there. So you can flatten that to a file and then, bring it back in as you're on sample if you want. So you basically have your 950s can be a little more crunchy. Your S1000, 1100, it's going to have a little bit harder transient, a little bit louder at first, and then the 3000 is going to be a little bit brighter. And you can also turn off that coloration if you don't like the coloration, but that's the idea. So, you can do your time stretch, adjust your quality, play it back, etc. Again, I'm not trying to make it perfect, just trying to kind of get the vibe, right? So we have our time stretch, we have our looping, we can control our parameters. Again, we have our key group stuff. You can see obviously on the left here, the organization between disk groups, programs, key groups, and then the samples. If I go back to the table view, that shows them all. One thing that's kind of cool is, and again, this kind of respects the sampler of how many velocity splits, but if I can take this, I could duplicate to the loud layer. So now I have my two different samples, so you could make different adjustments. And right before saving this, I have a glitch I gotta fix. I don't know, I just screwed something up where my picker here is moving kind of slow. It shouldn't be. It wasn't before. I'll fix that here shortly, but I want to get this video recorded before I head back out of town. So we can adjust our velocity split for the loud and soft layer. What are some other things? Oh, this is cool. So let me just go back. So this is selected. I could go into my slicer tool, which is, let me close my virtual keyboard. So a slicer tool is kind of like your, recycle kind of a program. Again, I'm not trying to, make the most amazing new slicing tool in the planet or anything. I mean, it's trying to make it so you can work fast, not have to go into another app. So you can click on transient, you can adjust your sensitivity, you can do it by region, get your 16 steps, you can do the BPM. If I go in manual, let me just clear out all those, go back to manual. If I click this little button down here, I can just pick where I want the slices. So let's say right there, sounds great. I could, for example, let's say you want to slice 2, you want to be in reverse, no problem. There we go, reverse. If I want to hear how that is. Okay. You also have a slice library. So if I open this up, let me make this a little bit wider. There we go, so I can see it better. So you could, for example, let's say you wanted this slice. I could hit save to library. Boom, saves it right over here. So you can add. You could add your slices to your library, kind of like Apple Loops. Kind of that's the same concept, right? Notice here you have time, BPM. I'll show you actually in the other library because I got to fix. I was just in the middle of redoing this version of my slice library. I had a different pop-up and It hasn't fully implemented it, so I'll show you in the other screen here in a second. But there's a slice library. You do have a few basic effects. You have a compressor, you have your gate, and of course your EQ. Got some presets, etc. Pretty typical stuff. Nothing too crazy there. So we got those effects. You can rename, and let's say you got your slices where you're happy. Click export. Now I can just give the individual slices, or I can do chops. Chops is more like the MPC style from the slice point to all the way to the end, or you can do slice and chop. So you could just do the individual slices plus the slice point all the way to the end as a chop. So if you're doing some jungle, some breaks, that could be a fun way to do slices and chops. So I'll show you that. I could export them as WAV files or back to my app. We can click back to my app. It's done. I can hit OK, keep the slicer tool open, or hit OK and close. So I'll close that out. So now if I go back to my samples here, scroll down, here we go. Slices right there. Okay. So there they are. Let's see. Oh, some other things that are kind of cool. So we have a left-right processing. So one thing that I get annoyed about, if you're taking something from another program like that you was previously chopped, maybe recycle or something, and it was pseudo stereo, as in the left and right were really the same thing. They're just duplicated. But for purposes of trying to map this out and play it back with MIDI, I don't want the duplication of those channels. So this is just a little detection. It's just checking to see you can remove duplicates and then go to mono, or you could average your left and right together. So in this case, I shouldn't have any, but I'll just run it just to check. So it's checking. Nope, 0 done. I know that because I already did it. I can also see on the side here, sample, bit rate, etc. If it's a mono, stereo, how long it is. So I can already see these are all in mono already because it's old drum stuff. That's what I want to be in. We also have a remove silence button. Same concept, and you can pick the different thresholds on how you want to detect that. Because I was running into that. I had some old. I chopped some stuff up in Recycle, and I brought it into my app originally, and I kept having some silence and some pseudo stereo stuff, and it was pissing me off. So I added that tool. Now in this case, shouldn't find any because again, I can see them. They're all there. But if they were, it'll detect it and can remove it. I mentioned the slice library earlier, so go back. Let me expand my left column. We have a browser similar to, like Ableton or something, where you can add different folders, right? So you can just have little shortcuts to get to your files, and then you can drag the samples right in, and then you have your sample library. So here's my sample library from earlier. Notice it's actually finished being built out. The other one I gotta fix. It didn't call it up right, but that's okay. So you have time, BPM, key. If you click on one, you have a little preview at the bottom. Notice also everything's black right now. So there's a few things we could do. First is, because I keep like deleting this and rebuilding when I'm, as I'm developing. But if I hit this little, you wouldn't normally do that. Yours would stay persistent. So if I click the little gear, you can have different categories, name them, you get your color, etc. But also we have this auto detect button. So I'm going to hit analyze all missing metadata. And look, I'm not claiming it's going to be perfect. It was just trying to get us close, right? So it's trying to detect the time of the sample, what the BPM is, and what the key. Obviously, what the BPM and the key is only going to be as good as the info, right? I mean, some of these, drums and whatnot, some of these, it's hard to detect, right? So it's just going to be as good as it is. You can also favorite, so that way, for some sorting and some other stuff, you can be able to see it. Let me go ahead and take this guy, right click, set as a category, we'll put drums. See, it's a little red dot. This one we could set, I don't know, bass. You get the idea. So you can, that way you can start to organize, get the different colors, etc. Okay, so you got your slice library, we got our browser, we got our groups, which shows the overall bit. We have our MIDI learn, the sample, sample edit, key groups, table, and then obviously the different conversion stuff. Let me just hit convert on this one. So I've hit convert. It's thinking. Cool. So it's telling me, yep, converted, processed all the files, created the different disks. Again, this one's set for GoTech. It's saying it's maybe 3 programs. This one became just because out of testing, make my life easier because I kept going back and forth with a thumbstick and it was really annoying. So, I'd have to go and like eject it and so on and so forth. So what I ended up doing is basically this little part right here, right? Settings, you can see it. You can detect for the USB-C cable connected if you have like a Zua Blaster and you're connecting directly to it. Your SD card, thumb drive, it'll detect it. You can have it overwrite without asking, ask before overwriting, etc. Here's the names: Zulu, SCSI 2SD, and Akai for your volume names. If it detects it, it'll automatically write to it, and then if it was there, you could scan again, and then it'll copy it in there, and then eject it automatically to make your life easier. So that's it. I gotta, like I said, I'm not in my studio right now, so I can't show you the playback. But right now, I got this everything working on the S950 on the GoTech. The S1100 was mostly working, not the effects yet, but mostly working GoTech wise. But I was just having an issue with my GoTech in particular. When I get back from my vacation, I will go ahead and finish that part up, and then yeah, we'll get the others working and a few other little things. There's a whole step sequencer thing I'm building, and some other uh, things I'm adding. But just wanted to show you what we have so far, and so I'm gonna put the demo out here. It might already be out by the time you see this video, but I'm gonna put a demo out for free to get so you guys can sort of as like an open public beta, and then and basically by the end of January, I hope to have most of the bugs kind of squashed, and then I'll put this up for sale. There'll be a pre-launch price if you want to jump in early for like 50% off. Just I ended up putting way more hours into this than initially planned. Like I said, this started out for just as a fun project, but there you go. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.